Hi everyone, take two. My coffee just finished. So the reason why we're playing the One Ring, should we change it for something else? Is it risky that they ban it? And is it necessary for skills? And I'm gonna walk you a little bit through the history of why we're playing the One Ring here. Maybe that will make sense for you guys. That you're new, maybe you were not part of the Discord or whatever, or you just simply missed the conversation. And basically, then I'm gonna give you my thoughts on what can you play instead if you don't want to invest the money? Because I do believe it could be likely that the ring gets banned at some point. It's just a kind of a this card has some kind of horrible play patterns. I think it's a necessary evil, but I think it has pretty horrible play patterns. That's kind of a bad place to be from a game point of view. But if you Google the One Ring, you get a lot of Karashi cards at the moment. I don't know if it's because they know me or probably they know me. Anyway, so like RC Ghent, we are playing the RC, and I got 78, and we all day two kept Stan and I. And the thing was that we were feeling extremely good about our deck list choice. It was super strong, it was smooth, and really had no complaints. Online we're dominating. It just, one of the times that skills felt the best. There was only two issues. So basically, during this tournament, we played a combined of 45 matches. And of course, we lost some to Titan and stuff like this that are generally not great matches. But one of the things that I lost 5 of my matches, like my 5 losses were to the exact same pattern. There was either I would win game one, it was grindy decks like Morktide, like Breach, like 4-color, like Flame of Honor decks, and like a Zoo deck, where I would dominate game 1 with Urza Saga and Echoing Dips. We played 2 Echoing Dips in the game, the tournament. And then post board, there were 2 things could happen. One of them that we fixed very quickly is they would Blood Moon me. And it seems that like Blood Moon shouldn't do much against you because you have 4 skills for stealings only into Tamillos. But what happened is I was really relying on Tamillo and Urza Saga to grind out opponents. So if my opponent had a fast Blood Moon on the play, normally I would win game 1 and they would beat me game 2. I felt like game 2s were always a loss because they would just slam a Blood Moon on turn 2 or turn 3 if they had no Ragavan. And then basically it meant that all my grindy engine, which was the 4 sagas with the 2 Echoing Dips, and all the steerings that would allow me to find the good cards were just gone. And because I only was playing 4 Forest, I had a lot of games where I wasn't even having access to green. And basically I was like, the last one I lost, I was like, damn, why are we playing 4 Forest? Why don't we just cut 2 of the pathways and we play 6 Forest? And that's what we're doing right now. We play 5 to 6 Forest, we play more Forest, and that was one of the developments of the deck, which was because why should we ever lose to Blood Moon, Ghost Quarter, Fields of Ruin, and all that, right? 4 Forest was simply too heavy. And we basically, I think, combined, I activated this once in my 15 matches, kept activated it 0 times, and then activated like once or twice. So really not that necessary. And now with Phyrex Centaur, even less necessary. The other thing that happened was they would bring cards like Brotherhood Zen, they would bring cards like Engineer Explosives, cards that would like wear and tear, things that would actually answer sagas. And then what would happen is we only had that to come back from a game where in deficit or any grindy game that was equal. Any card that would have a 2-for-1, our only 2-for-1 was Saga. So what we ended up having is opponents kept trading for us, and they were answering our Saga, so we ended up just ran out of gas. And that's how I lost with some of the Zoo matchup and the Flame of Honor matchup. So I realized basically that there was something missing there. And that same weekend, there's a Brazilian player, I forgot his name, he top-8 a challenge playing Kansai and Aversa in the sideboard. Now, Kansai and Aversa is not a great card, but the concept was, and he's playing on Twitter, that he's like, I should bring Karn when people are going to bring all this hate against me, and then that hate doesn't touch Karn, and I basically just get to win the game through Karn. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And then we were like chatting. We're like, well, Karn kind of sucks. I tried Karn kind of sucks, but the ring is kind of strong. So first we played on the sideboard, and then we were like, okay, we're bringing it in every post-board game because we knew most matchups will default to is like they will have a lot of Artifact hate or Saga hate post-board, especially at that time. There was a lot of Sagas. So we were like, okay, if we're always bringing it game 2 and game 3, why wouldn't you just play main deck? Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to bring a card every time from the sideboard, then that card should maybe be in the main deck. And that's actually a very strong thing to do because the ring is very, very strong. And that's basically what it came to be. Like, we realized that we need a plan B against all this grindy interaction that was really hard on our Saga game plan. And we basically added the rings by cutting a Hangawag and by cutting a Welding Jar at a time. And now we also have got a steerings just to make space for all these like dual face model cards. That's the story. That's why we're playing the ring. So basically, at some point, we realized that we needed something to catch up when our opponent was destroying resources, and we figured out the ring is strong enough to guarantee playing in main deck. Because you're playing main deck, you will be some games where you will be like, okay, turn 4 ring, or now turn 3 ring with Phyrexian Tower, or then turn 2 ring with Phyrexian Tower. You'll draw a bunch of cards and you will just win the game. And that's especially true against Jeskai, for example. Is especially true against blue-black Murktide, especially true against normal Murktide. Any deck that tries to grind you out, you play the ring, you draw 6 cards, you win the game through a combo. And it doesn't almost matter which combo. Is it Saga, tokens, is it Ravage, Ballista, it doesn't matter. That was the idea. And that's why we play the ring right now in the deck, right? We are playing only 2 Hangavax. You can see the difference, right? Just evolution. We had 4 steerings, 4 jars, 3 Hangavax. We got 1 Hangavax, 1 jar, 1 steerings to make space for 2 rings, and 1 revitalizing repass, basically. And I think this guy's actually very strong. So, and then of course the Phyrexian Tower allows us to play no red lands, which then of course now we're playing 6 forests, but Observant Entertainment has been very good for very little cost, since it also does for mana. So we are now on 5 forests. But that's it. And okay, because Blood Moon is actually not very popular right now. Still, it's good to have 5 forests in the deck. You see the thought process. That's why we have the ring in the deck. So if you don't have rings, you don't have the money for rings, or you don't want to spend you don't want to spend your money in rings, then I would recommend playing a similar list to the one we played in Ghent, but you have to have a plan for the post-board games. And the post-board games, maybe it's just that you actually move on to a fast kill, that's the plan, or that you decide to say, okay, I'm going to bring maybe 3 Tamiyo safekeeping to really try to fight those Saga hates. I am going to bring, then you'll be able basically not to bring so much hate, because, and that's one of the points I wanted to make as well. We can basically use all our cyber to answer specific things instead of having to bring a cyber for grindy cards. You can blink cards Cyano Versa, that's allowed. I don't know how good the card is, but it's definitely good Duchess Wrath. Just a big deal, and it also costs 4 mana. So you can play it on the sideboard. I wouldn't play cards Cyano Versa in the main deck. You can play on the sideboard, bring in on those games, and play a very similar list to what we were playing. And then, post sideboard in those grinding matches, you just take out Zavasses, you take out Jars, you have a bunch of exile, you take a Cauldron, good. Then, one thing I wanted to mention, guys, is a lot of doomsaying in the comments on my YouTube videos. Scale is still very strong. I feel that if you practice and if you have a plan and you really analyze every matchup and you really make a good cyber plan, a good main deck, you're actually able to beat anybody. The thing is, it takes some work, because post-board Scales turns into this weird mixture of a combo deck, an aggro deck, and a prison deck. So knowing when to do what and having the right tools for the right job is everything. You can see now we have 1 Ranafal on the sideboard, which is for Nadu and for these Emrakuls that people are really breaching into our faces, and also for Murktide. We're playing 2 Flutes, and the Flute is a very complex card. You can play many different ways. So it's very important, guys, to if you wanna, you can just take a random, this list is very good, I think. You can take this, go to a tournament, and do okay. But if you want to do great, you need to put some work into it. First, figuring out the lines, what to play around, what to not play around, etc. But also getting a very, 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 very good cyber plan. Of course, we can help with that in the Patreon, and we also work on those because we know the RC season is coming. But still, you really need to understand what cards you're putting there, especially if you decide to change the deck list. If you decide to change the deck list for any reason, you need to really understand why you're doing it and what you're doing there. If not, it's going to be very hard to win these games. So basically, that's the conclusion. You can beat almost anybody because green is an amazing color, and artifacts are amazing, and we have a very easy way to protect those artifacts, hit artifacts with Weldinger and Tamiyo safekeeping, and we can get them off Saga. And then the rest of the deck is still very strong. It has the same powers as all the time, right? So it's kind of this combination that it's very hard. This synergy aggro deck, this combo deck, sometimes, and this prison deck. How you manage those, it's very tricky. And sometimes I myself fall victim of prioritizing too much prison when I should have been aggroing, etc. So there is a balance there, and it's a difficult balance to strike. But if you strike it, I promise you success. I've been doing very well with the deck list. Stan has been doing well with the deck list. Kept is in South America, so I don't think it's doing very well for the deck list at the moment. But we're going to work on this even more. The RC season starts in 2 weeks in Europe. And for that, we're going to have prepared a new cyborg guide with, hopefully, let's see what happens. Next week, they're going to be a ban announcement. If they ban Nadu, I think there's 3 cards that are in the radar of people, right? Even Doomway made a video. One is Nadu, and I think that's almost for sure we can say that's going to be gone. I still don't think the deck will be changing a lot. Maybe we will made the run a foul, a second Nature's Claim, or even thinking of Force of Vigor, because we actually play quite a lot of green cards right now. Or something like that. Maybe the second Disruptive Flute will not be needed. There'll be like small changes. That's the case of now. In the case they ban Grief, the meta changes completely, because Grief is a very important part of the meta. Plays in Living End, plays in Mono Black. I don't know if that benefits us or not, but it just will shake out the meta. We will not know exactly how to prepare, and that will be part of the work we'll put into. And if they ban the ring, obviously it will hurt us because we love the ring. And one of the main things that the ring is good against right now is the Wrath of the Skies. And I feel that's what I was saying in the beginning, that is one of these necessary evils. I don't think Grief is necessarily a necessary evil, because Grief just promotes absolutely awful play patterns. And people say it's good against combo. Not really good against combo. Grief is just good against everything. And, it's just a clog and too much disruption is horrible. But the ring, it actually gives chances to decks like ours and to other decks like that to actually pull ahead of these blue-based Jeskai energy decks that have every card they play is a 2-for-1. So if you don't have something that is allows you to catch up and you just trade, you're gonna lose every single time, right? So the ring has this kind of thing to them that allows decks to grind out decks that are just purely 2-for-1s, like Boros, like Jeskai, all those decks. So that's what I'm thinking, that will we see a ban of the ring? I don't know. But if there is a ban of the ring, well, we'll go back and try to draw. What is it going to be like? We probably will need some additional grinding abilities. And that'll probably be in Karn, will be an animation module. We'll see. Maybe more Echoing Deeps. Who knows where we will take it. And I do believe, though, that if they ban the ring, the Jeskai matchup it gets even harder. But maybe then the Jeskai matchup is Jeskai is easier to beat because they don't have ring themselves. So that will be just a different conversation, guys, to have. But we need to make sure, like, whatever happens, if they ban Nadu, I would take this 95% of the deck list just fine. Probably the main deck is perfect, the sideboard. Maybe we got the Pithing Needle in the main deck. If Nadu's banned, and Yawgmoth is on the decline. And we get to play either Fortress Steerings, Haywire Might, or another Jar, or, for example, another Hangabag, whatever, probably something like that. If they ban Grief, I think it really changes the meta. We'll need to reevaluate completely what we see, what we don't see. I would say black decks are probably destroyed if they ban Grief, which is a horrible thing as well. And then if they ban the ring, and ring and Nadu, let's say, I don't leave the Grief, then, I think Jeskai becomes probably the best deck in the format. But without the ring, it will still be balanced in a way. So we'll have to see. Guys, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching. And let me know if you like this kind of content. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.